Hello everyone, welcome to the online classes of biology for class 12th. Today we will take up chapter 14 ecosystem. First start with the concept of ecosystem. An ecosystem is a biological environment consisting of all the organisms living in a particular area as well as all the non-living physical components of the environment with which the organisms interact, such as air, soil, water and sunlight. It is all the organisms in a given area along with the abiotic factors with which they interact, a biological community and its physical environment. Now about the structure of ecosystem. Ecosystem ecology is the integrated study of biotic and abiotic components of ecosystems and their interactions within an ecosystem framework. The science examines how ecosystems work and relates this to their components such as chemicals, bedrock, soil, plants and animals. Ecosystem ecology examines physical and biological structure and examines how these ecosystem characteristics interact. This is a beautiful picture showing an ecosystem. Now the structural features of an ecosystem. There are two structural features: species composition and stratification. Species composition: all the plants and animals and microbial species present in an ecosystem constitute species composition. Vertical distribution of different species occupying different levels in ecosystem is known as stratification. Now about the functions of ecosystem. First function is productivity. The rate of production of biomass is called productivity. Primary productivity has two aspects: gross primary productivity GPP, rate of production of organic matter during photosynthesis; net primary productivity NPP, it is the amount of energy left in the producers after utilization of some energy for respiration. Second function of ecosystem is decomposition, an aerobic process in which complex organic matter is broken down into simpler organic substances and ultimately into inorganic compounds. Steps of decomposition. It includes 5 steps. It is one of the important questions for board exams. First step is fragmentation. Second is leaching. Third is catabolism. Fourth is humidification. And fifth is mineralization. Let's get into the explanation of all these steps. Fragmentation is breaking of the detritus into smaller particles by decomposers. Leaching is the process in which water-soluble inorganic substances run down into soil horizon and get precipitated as unavailable salts. Third step is catabolism, conversion of detritus into simple organic compounds and then into inorganic compounds by enzymes secreted by decomposers. Humidification, it is accumulation of a dark colored amorphous substance called humus, which is a reservoir of organic nutrients. mineralization, degradation of humus by certain microbes leading to release of inorganic nutrients. The third function of ecosystem is energy flow. Flow of energy from the sun to producers and then to consumers in unidirectional way. Energy is transferred in the form of food through food chains. Now about the types of food chain. GFC, that is grazing food chain. It begins with the producers that capture the solar energy through photosynthesis. DFC, detritus food chain. It begins with the dead organic matter and decomposes. Here we are able to see a food chain. Food chain tells us about the direction of flow of energy as well as who is eaten by whom. Again, there is the energy flow through the ecosystem, which is shown in the figure, from producers to consumers, then to decomposers, and finally again back to the soil pool and then to producers. Now about the energy supply and flow through ecosystems. A question arises, how does energy supply limit the food chain? Grasshopper example, only the chemical energy left over after cellular respiration is converted into grasshopper biomass. Only this biomass is available to the next energy level. Energy pyramid, 10% of energy is available at each trophic level. That means the energy keep on decreasing from one trophic level to another, and only 10% of energy flows from one level to the next level. Now chemicals are recycled between organic matter and abiotic reservoirs. Ecosystems require daily infusions of energy. The sun supplies the earth with energy, but there are no extraterrestrial sources of water or other chemical nutrients. Nutrients must be recycled between organisms and abiotic reservoirs. Abiotic reservoirs are part of the ecosystem where a chemical accumulates. All this comes under the fourth function of ecosystem, that is nutrient cycling. There are two basic reservoirs for nutrients. One is the rocks and the another is the atmosphere. So there are two types of cycles. The source is rock, then it is the sedimentary cycle, and if the source is atmosphere, then it will be the atmospheric cycle. The general abiotic reservoirs are the water cycle, carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, and phosphorus cycle. Water moves through the biosphere in a global cycle. Heat from the sun drives the global water cycle, precipitation, evaporation, and transpiration. This image is showing the water cycle, how from the atmosphere it comes by precipitation, and then how by evaporation, transpiration, and respiration it get back to the atmosphere. Let's start with the carbon cycle. The carbon cycle depends on photosynthesis and respiration. Carbon is taken from the atmosphere by photosynthesis. It is used to make organic molecules. It is returned to the atmosphere by cellular respiration. Here, an image is showing the carbon cycle, how it from the atmosphere get into the plants by photosynthesis and then into the other living organism which directly or indirectly depend on plants, and how they respire and releases carbon dioxide. So the cycle keeps on going. Even by pollution, the carbon dioxide again get back into the atmosphere. Now the next cycle is nitrogen cycle. The nitrogen cycle relies heavily on bacteria. Nitrogen is plentiful in the atmosphere as nitrogen, that is diatomic form, but plants cannot use it directly. Various bacteria in soil convert nitrogen to nitrogenous compounds that plants can use. This is a figure which is explaining the nitrogen cycle, how from the atmosphere by electric discharge or by biological fixation or by industrial fixation, the nitrogen get into the soil pool, and from soil pool it get into the plants and animals. Then after their death and decay, it releases back into the soil. So the cycle keeps on going. Even there are some denitrifying bacteria which releases the nitrogen from the nitrogenous compounds of soil. Next cycle is phosphorus cycle. The phosphorus cycle depends on the weathering of rocks. Phosphates and other minerals are added to the soil by gradual weathering of rock. Consumers obtain phosphorus in organic form from plants. Phosphates are returned to the soil through excretion by animals and the actions of decomposers. This is the cycle which is showing the phosphorus recycling or nutrient cycling. It is showing how the phosphorus keep on moving from biotic word to the abiotic word and again to the biotic word. Ecosystem alteration. Connection is ecosystem alteration can upset chemical cycling. Experimental studies have been performed to determine chemical cycling in ecosystem. A study to monitor nutrient dynamics has been ongoing in the Hubbard Brook Experimental Forest since 1963. Researchers found that the total removal of vegetation can increase the runoff of water and loss of soil nutrients. The graph is showing the same. Now about the ecological succession. The image is showing the disturbances, grass, shrub, small trees, and then finally the climax forest. Succession is a gradual change in the species composition of a given area. Some species colonize, some species decline. The communities successively change in an given area are called serae. In the succession serial stages, there is a change in the diversity of species of organism. A image showing succession in a stepwise pattern. First, the water, second, small plants, third, the shrubs, and fourth one is the climax community, that is trees and forest. Now about the primary and secondary succession. First, we'll start with the primary succession. It occurs in area where no life ever existed. It is very long process and complex as well. Secondary succession, it occurs in area where once life existed and destroyed. It takes less time. Now about the hydrarch succession. Phytoplanktons, then the submerged plant stage, then the submerged free floating plant stage, reed swamp stage, marsh meadow stage, and scrub stage. All these are showing how the community with abundance of water finally developed into a climax community, that is the forest community. After the scrub stage, we achieve the final climax community. The first stage is termed as the pioneer stage or the pioneer community. Altogether, it is termed as serrae, and the single strata is termed as the stratal community. Now they are showing how a water abundant community finally get converted into a climax community. Basically, the aim of succession is to achieve the mesic conditions, that is the moderate conditions. Even there is scarcity of water or there is abundance of water, always the communities or the system moves towards the achievement of mesic or moderate conditions. Now about the hydrarch succession. It takes place on barren rocks where the scarcity of water exists. The lichens are the pioneer species. They release carbonic acid and causes weathering of rocks. Then bryophytes, herbaceous plants, shrubs, and last the trees appear in the succession and establish the climax community. Here, the succession in the bare rock is shown. Pioneer species or community lichen, then bryophytes, then herbaceous plant, shrubs, and finally the climax community, that is trees. We can say forest.